Hey everyone, welcome back to Patriot Ridge Farm. It's Mike, and it's been a minute since I got a video out, and that's just because the weather's been just absolutely horrible. As I continue to walk, you can see there's ankle deep mud. This isn't so bad right now, but this is what we've been dealing with. Add to that, about 4 days ago we had 2 inches of rain, and then all day yesterday, was it yesterday or Friday? One day, I can't remember, I don't even know what day of the week, I think it's Sunday now. It snowed, we got like 2 inches of snow, and then of course all this is melting off, and it just continues to add to the mud. All right, so what I've been doing today, after I did my running today, was I started sitting down, figuring up all the expenses for the farm business. And I'm only going from May of 2023. Because we started the business in June of 2023, so we had a run of meat chickens going at that point in time, and that was the 39 that I bought from a local farmer who just didn't have time to raise them. So I started from right there, so I think it was like May 20th. And so with all of the egg layers that we have, and I think we got close to 40 egg layers, give or take. And I honestly, at this point, I'm just not, I don't even remember. But so with the egg layers, the 4 rabbits, which are the most feed efficient animals on the farm, by the way. And then of course the pigs. Now, I do have to tell you, we had 12 pigs. We had the 2 sows, the boar, Pee-wee, and then the 8 piglets. Unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, well, about 3 weeks ago, the sows, they were in with Pee-wee, and they were all doing good, doing fine, and they attacked Pee-wee. I mean, they literally attacked him. I mean, I heard the ruckus, and I come running across the yard because I was outside, and they just, both of them hit Pee-wee, and I mean, Pee-wee was flipping and flopping in the air, and I'm like, good Lord. So I ran them out of there, got them into the other paddock, and closed the gate so they couldn't get back in, because I just let them all kind of get together there. Well, Pee-wee was down for a few days, and I got him, I was taking food and water to him. He started getting up, moving around. Of course, he was all stoved up. And Pee-wee he hadn't been right since we got him. Pee-wee was always very stiff and rigid. You know, it wasn't like a meningitis type of thing with him. I just think I'm pretty sure he was the run of the litter, and he had some issues from the get-go, and he was just a sweet pig. You know, I always referred to him as the puppy dog pig, and that's why we were just going to keep him as a farm mascot type of thing. Or farm pet, actually, and we weren't going to eat him or anything. But he started getting back up, and I went out one day to feed, and I heard him way down over in the woods, and I figured, well, good, he's up moving around, he's out, and he's in the woods and stuff. Heard him down there grunting, so I filled his feed bowl up. Well, the next day I come out to feed again, and his feed bowl was still full, hadn't been touched, and I didn't hear him. So after I finished feeding the rest of the pigs, I went and looked for him, and I found him. And evidently he had rolled down the hill, and I'm welcome to West Virginia. You know, he had rolled down the hill, actually rolled through the fence, and was laid out in the middle of the woods down there. And he was so far gone. I mean, the best he could get was a squeak. He could barely lift his head up off the ground. And there was nothing I could do for him. There's a regional mobile vet around here, but you're talking 3 weeks minimum to get them to come out. And I wasn't going to just start guessing and shooting him full of all kinds of drugs or medicines that I didn't know what was wrong with him. So I had to euthanize him. And I hated to do that. God, I hated to do that because he was such a sweet critter. But unfortunately, that's the thing that happens. But anyways, so what I did, and that was about 2 weeks ago, Pee-wee's now at rest out in the woods, a nice little pretty spot. Anyways, so I'm sitting there figuring up today. So I started, I think it was May 20th, was the receipt that I started with for feed. Now this is including meat chickens, this is including egg layers, and pigs and rabbits. So for 2023, from May to the end of 2023, I'm almost $4,000 in feed. And it was like $3,900 and some odd dollars. So that's a lot. Now also consider that I was paying $18 a bag for meat bird feed when I was at the place I was originally getting it at. I think I had 6 visits there getting feed there, plus some pig feed there. And, you know, I just started shopping around for a comparable quality feed at a lower price. So anyway, so my goal this year is, of course, getting the greenhouse done. That's the #1 top priority. Today was supposed to be a work day. Finally, it did turn out to be a pretty nice day, but there's just so much mud from all this rain and the snow that we had that it wasn't even worth it. I mean, it wasn't even worth it to get out there and fight it. If we'd tried to drill a couple holes to set the uprights in on the far end wall, they'd have just, it would have just been so much mud and clay. It wasn't worth it. So anyways, but so we didn't get anything done today, so I just figured I'd start going down, or sit down and start going through my receipts and figuring everything up for tax season. And like I said, when I got to that, I'm sitting there looking at that and I'm going, God, there's almost $4,000 in feed. What can I do this year to help offset my feed? And the piglets are growing great, but they're just not at the size that I thought they would be at by this time. And I'm giving them, I mean, I'm going through a whole bag of feed a day, and I'm feeding the piglets. So 8 piglets are getting 25 pounds of feed a day. So, you know, that's like 3 pounds of feed per pig, give or take, and plus all the forage and stuff that they have. Now, this time of year, of course, there's not a whole lot of forage, but they can still root and everything. So they're not underweight, they're just growing slower than I thought they would. Now, I don't free feed them like a lot of people do. A lot of people say you can get them to butcher weight in 6 months, but they also free feed, and I'm not going to do that, because that's just going to make my feed costs go through the roof. So I've been reading, listening to, watching all kinds of stuff here recently, and I've got a plan for this year. All right, so you guys probably know this field from previous videos. This is the middle field where I run my meat chickens. So there's the 8 grow out piglets. This is the top part of their paddock. It runs around down there, and then it goes over there and just drops down over the hill. So they've got about 3 acres there. So what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to come off of that corner post right there, and I'm going to come right up alongside the road, and I'm going to fence this whole middle field in, all the way around the perimeter, into the woods, down over the hill, to Grandma's house we go. All right, so once we get the outer fence up, the perimeter fence up, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start separating this field off into paddocks. Now, I really haven't decided what size paddocks I'm going to go with yet, whether I'm going to go from the corner post, sorry, the sun's in the way there, from the corner post right there, come up this way, and then take maybe like 100-foot area lengthwise and split the trees. So this clump of trees right here, and once I get the dozer back together and get it finally running, this group of trees is going to come out, and that's them honey locusts. They got them big old spikes on it, and you don't want to bring a tired vehicle out here, a wheeled vehicle out here, and even get near close to pulling them things out of there once you cut them down, because you're going to end up with holes in your tires. So it'll be better to use the dozer for it. So eventually those are going to come out, and that's been a plan for a while, but one thing leads to another type of thing. So I think if I do 100-foot length to the middle here, and I'll just split the trees there. I'll go either on this side or that side of the trees. I'll probably go on that side for the first run, and run them all the way out to the end of the field. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take them in each section, but I'll let the pigs get in here, the 8 grow outs, and I'll let them just eat this down, root it up. Then I'll move them forward to the next paddock. And then I'll come in, of course, after when it's time enough to plant, I'll come in behind them, and I'm going to get a seed mix. So a lot of the reading and listening and stuff that I've been doing, I'm finding out buckwheat is a fantastic feed for pigs, for deer. I almost stepped in deer poop. I said deer. So it's a fantastic feed for pigs. It's got high protein to it, lysine, thiamine, all the amino acids and stuff that they need. And then I'm going to add red clover, white clover, some chicory, some Austrian winter peas, some oats, things like that. And as I move them forward, I'm going to come in behind them, and I'm going to overseed with that. Now, by the time I continue to move them around, bring them back up this way, and then move them over, and then back out again, I'll let them finish off in the woods, and it goes clear down over the hill down there. So I'm backwards here. Let me turn this thing around. All right, so the wood line out there, so all of that clear down over the hill to the next meadow is ours, and the next meadow is ours as well. But that's part of the old mine property. They're getting ready to reclaim, and they should be coming in the next few weeks to do that. And I'll get a video on that here soon as well, but weather again hasn't cooperated. But I'll let them run all this and eat all this down, and as I move them each time, I'll just come in behind them and overseed with my seed mix and let that stuff pick up. Now there's a lot of other stuff I'm going to put in there in that mix. I just named off a few of them, but like I said, a lot of what I've been watching, these are the big ones, like the top 10, maybe even more, that I'm going to put in there. And by the time they're done, they should be at butcher weight. Now I haven't even planned on breeding the 2 sows yet this year, and that's simply because these 8 piglets have rooted the hell out of this 3 acres down here real quick and in a hurry. So I want to be able to have something grown up, probably about waist high, maybe even a little higher, before I breed again. And that way I can bring those piglets in after 8 weeks, and I can kind of time that and figure it out. But I'll bring those piglets in and I'll rotate them through here. And as I rotate them through here, once they finish all of this up, then the 3 acres down here in the woods should have recovered enough by then. I can just drop them down in there and finish them off in there. And that's kind of the plan. Now, as far as the meat birds go, we're only going to do 60 this year because of everything that we got going on, and with some family time and stuff that we've got planned for this summer and everything. I'm only going to do 1 run this year, and I'm going to do 60 of the Freedom Ranger collar yields, and we're going to try that group to see how they turn out and see what kind of reaction we get from our customers. And I think we're going to do really well with that. I still have people wanting to buy the other batch that we processed, that they were all very small and underweight. And while I don't want to sell those birds and make them as an example of what we raise, because that is not an example of what we raise, I still have people saying, look, we understand, it's cool, but we know how you raise your birds. We really want some. So I'll probably go ahead and sell some of those as well, and just to get them out of my freezer and everything like that. But they're always going to be, forwarded with, listen, this is not the bird that we typically get. This is not the size. If it's a bad bird, let us know. If it doesn't taste good, or it doesn't taste any different than anything you buy from the store, let us know, because we have changed feed, and that run was just not a good run at all. And that was confirmed by the hatchery. That's why they reimbursed us for the cost of those chickens, because they just weren't growing. And even at 11 weeks, they were they were way undersized. But anyways, so that's the plan for this year. After the greenhouse is done, of course, is to get all this fenced in, clear up to here, and I'm gonna go right down here, just under the or inside the tree line down here, and then bring it out and then down over the hill, and I'll go down along the bottom where the old mine property is. Now that's still good meta down there, but they're going to be bringing in a bunch of equipment and redoing all that, so I'm not going to even mess with that. And then they're going to do a livestock mix seeding for us down there, specifically for ruminants. That's what I asked for, mostly cattle mix and stuff. So it'll be a good mix of grass will grow on there, and I don't want to do anything to jeopardize that. But the woods around here definitely need, as you can see, they need pig power. And I'm going to let the full pigness loose in these woods. Loose as in fenced in, but let them eat in there and everything. But that's one of the things that we're going to do to kind of help offset our feed costs and let these pigs eat more naturally rather than a commodity feed, and get some good top graze. You know what I mean? They get good graze off the ground, and they can root and everything like that as well in here. And otherwise, I mean, I'd have to come in here and harrow drag the hell out of this field, probably even till it a little bit to come in here and overseed it to get good growth. Might as well let the pigs do it. There's been nothing done to these fields since I've had them. We've not fertilized them. We've not used any chemicals on them. We've cut hay off of them. I brush hogged them. And then, of course, we ran chickens on this pasture here, and we got really good grass growth out of that. So the only fertilizer has been from the back end of the meat chickens that we raise here. So that's one thing we're going to look at. And I mean, if I pay $200 for the seed to seed this whole entire field, man, that's $200 less plus more that I'm going to save in commodity feed costs. So that's the one thing for the pigs. The second thing is there's a couple grains that I can grow, not even in big areas, but just in small rows and stuff like that. Sorghum. Sorghum's a great product. And I know what sorghum is. I've known about it for a while, but getting more in depth to it and deep diving on it, you know, they got these giant seed heads that come up on them, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, of seeds on those things. And you can cut the seed heads off and you can just feed them right to the chickens. You can grow amaranth and thousands of seeds on the amaranth heads and feed it right to the chickens. You can feed it to the pigs. You can do all of it. You can even take the sorghum seed, dry it out, get the husk and stuff off of it, and grind it up and make your own sorghum flour. And you can take the canes and you can press the canes and make sorghum syrup. And we just recently got some sorghum flour and some sorghum syrup, and I've had it before, but I couldn't tell you how long it's been since I've had it. But we had breakfast for dinner the other night and had sorghum waffles and sorghum syrup with sausage and bacon, and we loved it. It was great. Now, sorghum flour is naturally gluten-free, and that's for those of you who are gluten intolerant, but it's kind of a little dry because it doesn't have the gluten to it. So they tell you to add like a tapioca flour or tapioca starch to it. And then, of course, you put the butter and a couple other little things to it and make your waffles or your pancakes and stuff. And you can make flatbread and stuff out of it. But that's something that we can use in sunflower seeds. Man, you can grow sunflowers all over the place and just take them seed heads and feed them to your animals. And that's another thing that we're going to do. So we're going to try this year to grow as much as we can within reason and within ability at this point, to help offset our feed costs overall. Now, as far as the rabbits go, once we get the greenhouse done, we're going to move several of the raised beds up there beside the greenhouse. And there's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 left over that we're not going to be able to fit in that space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and move them down by the rabbit shelter, and I'm going to grow kale and comfrey and some lettuce and stuff like that for them. Maybe, well, some kind of lettuces, but just things that they like, and just grow that right there by them, and that way I can offset their feed costs by feeding them right out of the raised beds. Also get the rabbit tractors done, and I can get them out on fresh grass, and that will also cut back on their feed consumption as well. So yes, there's a lot to do, and with, like I said, with the weather just not cooperating, I mean, we're looking at next weekend and doing something, but it's supposed to rain like Wednesday through into Friday, and you know, what are you going to do at this point? But anyways, that's the plans. I'm tired of this drab, dreary, lifeless looking landscape around here. I'm so ready for spring and everything greening up, and I'm ready for good weather. It's nice out here today, but it is still ankle deep mud. But anyways, those are the things we got planned for this year, and I want to take you guys along with us on that journey to kind of show you what we're going to do to help offset the costs. And the piglets are food dominant, so they're biting each other's ears. You hear that in the background there. But that's what we want to do and get that stuff done. And you know, that's a learning curve for us. Figure it out, do it, you know, and just go from there. And hopefully that makes a difference in our overall feed costs and stuff for 2024. Now, I've already bought a ton of feed. How much? So I just went and bought a ton of feed last Monday. It was a holiday for us. So I went and bought a ton of feed last Monday. And, you know, we'll see what we end up with. When these 8 piglets are finally to butcher weight and they're gone, my feed costs are going to go down anyway until we breed and get the next batch out on the field. So I'll let you guys go at that. Anyways, a lot going on. Weather is definitely hampering all of our efforts, but we're still pushing forward and making plans to better things out this year. Anyways, get and stay prepared. Stay free. God bless y'all.